I'm going to push it a little bit further. I think everyone here would agree that we would like to see this sort of thing. We would like to see young people introduced to the liturgy. We'd like to see young people part of the renewal of the liturgy. But in the essence of Catholic education, in the essence of what a Catholic college or university ought to be doing, does this fall within the educational mandate of a Catholic college or university? If the liturgy is so important to our faith, is so important to our life, if the purpose of the Catholic college or university goes far beyond the intellectual to also the moral and spiritual development of the students, ought, even within the academic program, ought there to be study of the liturgy, study of sacred music, study of Latin, and if not all students, at least perhaps the theology students or students studying catechetics and music and church history who might actually be working directly with the church afterward. Is this integral to a Catholic education, or is it simply something that is a delightful component of being within the Catholic atmosphere of a college or university?
I don't want to sound kind of overly pious, but the most important thing that happens at any given moment in time is the celebration of the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass. And so the Mass is the foundation of everything. And so that's why, if we have this vision of education, which is merely, okay, well, I'm going to, try to train the intellect to the expense of the will, the character, the personality, one's freedom, all of these things, then we're not really giving an education to the whole human person. And if we find our true identity in Christ, and the liturgy is the action of Christ, then we're missing the whole point of education itself, and the ultimate goal of any kind of formation, intellectual, spiritual, of character, which is ultimately for union with God. And I think that because of certain ideas, perhaps of academic freedom or whatever, sometimes we're a little nervous to say that. But I think that particularly in Catholic context, or in campus ministry context, we should say we're here to get you into heaven, and we do that by getting you immersed into the sacred, and in doing so, then you become brighter and more beautiful people, and that is a wonderful thing.
I think the answer is unequivocally yes, but in a way, it's wrapped up with a larger question, which is the question of the core curriculum. If a Catholic university or college does not have a required curriculum for everyone to take, I don't mean it doesn't have to be all required the way it is at Thomas Aquinas College or Wyoming Catholic, but there has to be a core of theology, philosophy, humanities that everybody takes. If that's not there, then the whole thing is broken. I mean, there's something really, really wrong with it. So if you assume that there's going to be theology for all students, and the Catechism of the Catholic Church gives one of its 4 parts to worship and liturgy and sacraments, then obviously that has to be part of the education.
I would agree with both those remarks. The one question that's tricky, of course, is how do we lead these young horses to the water? I remember stories about Boston College in the 40s and 50s when it still believed in God. That for the men, it was an all-male school at the time, and daily Mass was a requirement. And I heard interesting feedback from this. One of them was that in the dead of winter, some of the students would simply throw their overcoats over their pajamas, go to Mass, keep their overcoats on, and then go back to the dorm and sleep it off. And their attendance was taken at daily chapel, but it was not taken on Sunday, because it was just presumed they would go, and then some of them didn't. So even though you had a policy that was very strongly encouraging them to participate in the liturgy, there was some kind of blowback. It's a matter of prudence, and that is always a really tricky thing to navigate.